Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here. Welcome to another royally screwed video where we highlight some of the quite blatant and quite insulting overpricing and price gouging of certain coins from our national mint, the Royal Mint, who part of their historic coin ranges have this collection called the Sovereign of the Month, where you can buy a sovereign every month from them, and you can basically end up with a very large collection of very expensive boxes, because this dog of a coin that they've used for their photo, they couldn't even find a good sovereign to have. Just look at that awful condition. Anyway, you're paying £1,150 for this coin. Spot price on a coin like this is around about $775. Now, I've had a quick bit of a research around. You could theoretically go and buy a really nice high-grade version of this coin from the Sydney Mint from Chards. Not sponsoring today's video, Chards, and I'm sure they probably wouldn't like me too much being associated with a Royal Mint bashing video, as they are one of Royal Mint's biggest customers. But they can sell you this right now for £884. And you compare that with the price tag over here of £1,150, you can see that you're getting a much worse coin and basically a very expensive box. So why do the Royal Mint do this? Well, of course they do it for profit. They do it to make as much money as possible. They do it to basically bring people into this collection that don't know any better, and I think it's a really bad look from the Royal Mint. So I'm doing another video to highlight the negatives of it, because I do think it's not a very good look at all. It's basically just there to try and depart people from their hard-earned money without really knowing. If you take this coin, right, take this coin, send it to a bullion dealer, there's a good chance that this particular coin, and I will grant you this is the stock image, so not all the coins that they've got in this that they will be looking to sell will be representative of this image. Some might be better, some might be worse. But if you took that coin to a bullion dealer, there is a very good chance that they would say to you, well, it's a substandard coin, basically what they would say C grade or below, and it might even be worthy of just getting rid of and scrapping, quite frankly. And so you'll get either spot price or below spot price, depending on what the bullion dealer kind of feels about it. I've seen this in action. I've seen bullion dealers do it. I've seen coins come in where, I'm not saying this one is underweight. One would hope that the Royal Mint have their coins checked such that it would be meeting the minimum standard weight of a sovereign that is required. Otherwise it becomes not a legal tender coin anymore. But if this was an underweight sovereign, for example, it would just be one that has to be scrapped. And it's a very worn coin, this one. So yeah, it's a difficult one to know. But the point here is still that it's £1,150 for this coin. Now, the Sovereign of the Month, I get it. Yep, sure, sovereigns are really popular. And this is one of the reasons why I'm making this video, because whilst I don't really like bashing the Royal Mint consistently and continually, I am a big sovereign fan. And when I see people, and unfortunately there will be people who buy this, and that's why they do this product, there will be people who don't know better. And they see this and they go, oh, yeah, ha-ha, a 1910 Sovereign of the Month. They've the monarch's one and only coinage portrait. Well, it was because he wasn't on the throne for very long. It doesn't make it anything particularly special. You can buy these coins, they're from 1902 to 1910. And, oh, sorry, this particular one here, I think, oh no, well, this is the Ottawa Mint one here, so this is from Numista. But if we go to Bullion by Post, you can see that they've got this lovely run of mintage figures here, and the London mintage figure, 22 million. Now, if you buy a Sydney one or a Melbourne one, they have a lot less of a mintage, which, as I pointed out here on the Chards website, again, not sponsoring, nice high grade 1910, priced at £880. That's about £100 over spot price, which I think is a really fair premium for what ultimately is a really nice coin that would fit in any collection if you're trying to do a date run with a mint mark run and you have the high grade qualities. You know, if you're buying this coin, which we'll look here on this reflective image, or this representative image, there is no mint mark here, so one presumes it's only going to be the London Mint coins. In fact, when we go, if we go back into the listing, I don't believe there is a mark notification here. No, I can't see anything, so it just gives you a bit of information about it. It doesn't tell you that you're going to potentially get, you know, one from Sydney or one from Melbourne, or maybe even one from Canada. Now, where I could see this being an interesting product is if the Royal Mint somewhat gamified it, almost loot box. They've done loot boxes, they do loot boxes. We've seen that on Royal Mint before, you know, you buy a mystery box. If they had said, look, we're going to put together 100 of these products, 100 Sovereigns of the Month. Within that, you're going to get, you know, 10%, because the mintage is 10% of there. You can have 10 of them would be a sovereign from Sydney. And then maybe one of them, 1% chance that you'll get the sovereign from Canada. That would be kind of cool. I could potentially be on board with that. I'm not a massive fan of loot box products generally, but I would have less of a problem with that than not, because it would be sort of a representative pricing for the entire product line. But to just simply, the Raw Mint simply could just go out and source 100 of these coins for spot price or less. Or by the way, if you ever were interested to find out what the Royal Mint sells coins for, so if we go Royal Mint buyback price, I think we can see, if we go here, yes, and then we scroll down and we say, how much will you pay me for precious metals? The Royal Mint, if you sell to the Royal Mint directly, they give you 96% of the live gold price on the gold, 90% of silver price on the silver. Okay, sure. And can you sell gold sovereigns coins? Of course you can, because they're just going to stick £350 on it, put it in a fancy box and put it in sovereign of the month. You know, they're paying 96% of spot price. That's, I don't even know what the maths would be on that. It's probably quite low. 775 times 0.96. They're paying 744 for their gold sovereigns. Then they're going to whack them in a box and sell them for 1150. So yeah, don't buy this product is my recommendation, because I think that first of all, you can buy a better product at a much cheaper price from other sources. Even other bullion dealers will have these coins come up. I don't want to sort of specifically shout out any particular dealers, but if we go to the shopping tab here, we can see that you could buy them from, basically this company here is notorious for not being particularly well priced, because they're essentially just a pawn shop, but you can still buy it cheaper from them. There are plenty of other options out there that you can buy this coin from. If it's something you need for a date run, there's also a lot of face up here I'm seeing, but if you need this kind of coin for a date run, then you can shop around, you can find better deals than buying from the Royal Mint directly. So yeah, I don't know. Will we ever change the Royal Mint? No. Do I just moan about the Royal Mint, shout at the clouds? Probably yes. Is it worth my time to do this? I kind of think so, because if I can just save a few people from making such a silly purchase mistake than going for this kind of product. What I would say is it's classic it's classic marketing, isn't it? It's classic, you build it and they all come, unfortunately. And I don't think that's the right look for a national mint. Certainly not a national mint with 1100 years worth of history. That's why I do it. That's why I make these kind of videos. And I know I'm not alone. And I know, I'm not alone in that there are a lot of people who will also feel the same way. So if you do feel the same way, then please let me know down in the comment section. I know there are a few people who would just be like, you flogging a dead horse, there's just no point in making this kind of content. But I still like to think that if I save someone from making a really bad purchase decision of buying a £300 box, then that's a good thing in my mind. So this is just nearly as much as a proof sovereign would be right now. You know, that is mad. Like if we go to the proof sovereign section here, are there any proof sovereigns still available, I guess is the question. We've got the strike on the day thing going on there. I mean, these were £1,200. I mean, I guess the price might be slightly more because gold's gone up a little bit since then. But, you know, this is 1,200 quid for a brand new proof sovereign, right? Proof sovereign with incredible details. Or you can buy this tatty, ragtaggedy sovereign. I honestly do think sometimes that the Royal Mint just likes to make this kind of product such that I can give them some free marketing on it. You know, there's no such thing as bad news in their mind, I think. So maybe I'm falling victim to them. Anyway, I am finished. Thanks all for watching. We'll see you on the next video. As always, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.